Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Brankus Creations and welcome to today's live stream. It has been quite some time since I streamed last. I think it's around about 3 weeks, if my memory serves. One of the main reasons why I haven't been live streaming is because I have had shingles. And if anyone doesn't know what shingles are, it is basically the chickenpox virus which has been sitting dormant in your body suddenly decides to wake up and say, "Hi, I'm still here." So me being someone who had chickenpox as a child, and so had that virus sitting there dormant in my body, and then it actually happened on the day of my last live stream. I have done the live stream. I'd been feeling a little bit peculiar. I'd felt like someone had punched me in the ribs, and that's not uncommon for me. I'm not saying that people typically punch me in the ribs, but I knock myself around a fair bit. You know, I'm often doing jobs, doing tasks around the place, and I walk away with cuts and scratches, and I've got no idea where they came from. And so it's really not uncommon for me to go, "Ow, geez, my arm hurts. Why does my arm hurt?" You know. And so that had been sitting there, and then a little later in the day, well, quite late in the day, at night time actually, my wife was actually having a nap, and I was doing some stuff on the computer, and I just felt something that felt on this side, felt something that felt a bit itchy, you know, and I thought I'd been bitten by something, and that's really common here in Australia. You get bitten by stuff all the time. And so I thought, yeah, I've been bitten by something. And I went and had a look, and it was a little red mark, and I thought, oh yeah, that's probably an insect bite. I took a photo of it, and then when I zoomed in, I could actually see these little blisters that look like, pictures I've seen before of people who have had shingles, the little rash that comes up. Apparently only happens on one side of the body, typically on one side of the body. And I went straight to the doctor. I got some antiviral medication, which started straight away. And then by the next day or the day after, the rash just came up, full bloom, just sort of starts from here in the middle of my rib cage, goes right around there, right to the middle of my spine. And it's still there. It's not as bad as it was, but it is still there. And it's still occasionally sore and itchy, but there you go. So I'm going to go do my normal. I'm just explaining to people why I haven't been live streaming. So I'm just going to go up here and say hello to everyone here. Hello to. Now, is that as far up as it goes? Let me just check. Yeah, I think it's as far up as it goes. Hello to Jubitronics. Hello, Thomas Armstrong. Mark Anning. Hello, Steve from Mac84. Hello there. Francois Revol is here. Who else have we got? We've got Colin from This Does Not Compute is here. Kai Robinson. Hello, Kai. I haven't spoken to you in ages. Tev Rudin. Hello there. K-Mac Vintage. Will, hello there. Mark, Apples Anonymous, hello there. Who else have we got? Paul Biley, Jared Burma, New Retro Repair. Did I say Nick? I think I said Nick. Anyhow. Richie B, Tev Rudin. I've already said Tev Rudin, haven't I? Yes, I have. And Retro Techie, and Enzo Fitzhume, and New Retro Repair. I already said you. Okay, I think I'm all caught up. If I missed anyone, feel free to say hello again. Anyhow, so that was a real bugger having shingles, but it's something that can happen. Sort of by the age that I am, I'm 52, something like that. What year is it? Once you're over 50, you're at risk if you've had chickenpox before, and I was just one of the lucky ones. Yeah. Make your package for you A2C adapter on 16 megabyte RAM, also write 4 or 8 pieces. Seriously, will let me give you some money. I mean, at least let me pay for the postage at the very least. But I do want to give you some money for this stuff. So, I just happened to notice a Facebook post that Will did the other day of this device. Now, I do need to ask you a question first about this, but there was. It's a device that you plug into the video output of an Apple IIc, which allows you to then plug in a card into it to then output as a digital video signal. Now, the reason why I want to ask you a question is because I have an Apple IIc, but I have a PAL Apple IIc because I'm in Australia and we're in the world of PAL. Now, someone told me now you can't get color output from the composite of a PAL IIc. It's just, you just can't. I am hoping that you can get color output from the actual video connector at the back on a PAL, but I do need someone. Oh, my audio is low, is it? Poops, why is my audio low? It is low, isn't it? What's going on there? Hang on. Let me just do some stuff here. Where's my body? I did an update. I did an update to these lately, and to the things, and yeah. And I've got a sneaking suspicion I've set the gain to a different amount. Now I can probably sort that out, but what I might do, just to get us by for the now, I'm just going to alter the gain on this. So we'll just go here to properties, or is it properties or filters? I think it's filters. But thank you for letting me know the audio is low, because I do not like that. So here I've got some gain here. I'm going to just hit us up a little bit. Back into, oh, that's probably too much. Okay, I'm into the orange now, just occasionally peeking into the red. If anyone could just let me know how that is, if that sounds a little bit better, if you want me to lift it more, or if it's getting all shitty. Sold out. Okay. Yes, it has full color out, and we'll ask the creator about power. That's awesome. Sold out of all of them in a few hours more in order. I'm not surprised, and the reason I'm not surprised you sold out of them is because there's nothing else available. There's that. What is that one called? Techie? No, I can't. There's another one, another device out there, and they're sold out. And they're always sold out. Every time I've ever checked it, they're sold out. So it's like if people want to get that color output from their 2C, there's just nothing out there. I know there have been things, but there's nothing. There just doesn't seem to be anything now. Yeah. Okay. So I made oregano and lemon roasted chicken, Greek lemon potatoes, tzatziki, gigantes plaki. I'm not sure about that one. And vine leaves for dinner. Sounds pretty good. I'm going out to the pictures tonight. To the talkies. Dad wants me to get the shingles vaccine because I had a bad chickenpox as a kid. Yeah. I mean, I think it's age, related. You probably don't need to worry about it until you get to a certain age. But yeah. Now let me just think here. A couple of things. So I don't know if anyone has seen my what do you call that thing? Facebooks. But I did a post on this little device which I designed and 3D printed, and this is a 68040 CPU puller. I actually think I might put a little spring in there. I think it'll be nicer to put a spring in there. So this is designed for pulling 68040 chips off the board without damaging the pins. What I also did, excuse me, hello Mr. Tech Gadget. No Apple IIc. Okay, hang on. I'm going back here. I'm working on a dedicated small card. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Okay, this is a thing that I made, and I'm just trying to open it up at the moment. So, I have had this issue where I've had these 68040 chips lying around, not inside a computer, and their pins have been getting wrecked. So what I did was I designed this thing, which I'm just going to show you in a minute. This thing here. This one's a bit snug. I've got another one which is not as snug, and it is a 68040 CPU protector. And it has a whole bunch of little holes in there, one for each pin, and it even has the tops of the holes come in at an angle like that. So if your pins are a little bit bent, they'll get straightened as they go in it. And so it enables me to sort of just do this, and I can then store these chips on a shelf or something with impunity, and without any fear of these pins getting damaged. So I will be making that available on Thingiverse, and I'll make a few versions available with different diameter holes, because it's very, very the tolerances are quite low. So depending on people's printers, their flow rates and stuff like that, the one that works for one might not work with another, or a different filament and all that sort of stuff. Oh, Mr. Tech Gadget likes that t-shirt. Yep, this is a present from my wife. She gave this to me as a gift. One of the things I did the other day, just for a bit of fun, is I opened up one of these LED light globes. The LED light globes. Have I got the bits of it here? It had failed, and I was curious to know what had actually failed on it, and I just assumed it was going to be like cheap capacitors failing or something like that, or maybe some sort of voltage regulator or something. But the thing that actually failed on this thing was the LED itself. Being exposed to that light and I guess heat for such a long time, all the plastic of these little LEDs, the actual LEDs themselves, was getting all chalky. So I mean, you can literally just sort of flick them off with your finger because they've just gone so bad. And so, yeah, I was just thinking to myself, wouldn't it be great if someone designed a light globe where you could sort of open it up and you could pull these little things out as a module and pop another one in, save yourself some money. But why are they going to do that? Why would they do that? They wouldn't do that. They would never do that. Okay. Could use a little bit of alfoil to add EST protection, or is that not an issue with this vintage? I generally don't worry too much. What CAD package do you like? Okay, so I use a product called Onshape. It's a web-based product, and I'm actually going to be doing some tutorial videos on it soon. I've already started working on those. Tutorial focused mainly on people wanting to get started with 3D modeling for 3D printing. Now, it's a parametric modeling device. It's not like Blender. It's not, if you're someone who's wanting to create models of, creatures or figurines or something like that. It's not for that. It's designed if you're wanting to build things like this sort of stuff, mechanical things, those sorts of things. And I find it very, very easy to use. I used to use a product called Lightwave, which is never designed for 3D printing. It was always designed for, 3D modeling, primarily for animation. You'll actually see Lightwave used in a few movies, some good ones, some bad ones. I used to use Lightwave for modeling product packaging. The company that I used to work for many, many years ago did packaging design for all sorts of things, paint cans, spray paint cans, bags of fertilizer, all sorts of things. And what would often happen is if we would come up with a package design concept, rather than just showing them a flat thing saying, hey, this is what it's going to look like wrapped around a can, we would actually go in and model the can, put the thing around it, simulate it sitting on a shelf in a shopping center or something like that to show how that design will look in situ. And so we used to do that. I used to do a lot of that sort of modeling. And so I use this product called Lightwave. And I used it for ages, but it wasn't the best for this sort of modeling. And then I discovered Onshape. It's free to use, but it doesn't. If you pay for it, there's a subscription fee to pay for it. You get a few extra features. There are two things you get. Number one, you get privacy. If you have a free account on Onshape, anything you build is publicly available. And so other people can actually, take that design and go and do something with it. They can't edit your design, but they can take it and then go and do something with it. And then the other thing is version control. So if you get to a certain point and you think, oh, I want to edit it, but I want to keep the old one, you can do that. But you can't do that with the free version. It's never really been an issue for me. So I've been very, very happy with Onshape, and as I say, I do plan to do some tutorial videos because I think when I first started using, I was just like, this is awesome. Yeah. So anyhow, I gotta go back and have a look at this here. JDW, I think, was looking for an 040 puller on Tinker Different. Yeah, he gave it a bit. When I posted this on Facebook, he was like, oh, I'm so glad you made this. I so desperately want one of these because I keep bending pins. So I'm like, yep, no worries. And he was saying that the only problem is he doesn't have a 3D printer. And so he would either need to get one 3D printed or get another service provider 3D printed, but I'll just send him one. Wild weather we've been having these past 2 days. It's actually, yesterday we had a beautiful day, a really, really nice day, and we went for a drive up to the Blue Mountains and went for a picnic, and it was lovely. Today it's freaking miserable. Please model me a 1D cube. No worries, I'll square it on its way to you. So now that's a line, actually. A 1D cube is a line. Sorry, my moustache is getting a little bit long and it's getting into my mouth and starting to annoy me. I have to trim it. And yes, a big hello to Jay. Thank you for joining, Jay. Thank you for joining. I have, I've been getting a little bit of pressure about doing live streams because as I say, I have been unwell. Fixer 69, not an Apple guy, but have learned a lot. Thank you, Bruce. Great video. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Personally use FreeCAD. It's great, but clunky. I'll give Onshape a look. Yep, no worries. What I would suggest to anyone who is interested in Onshape, maybe just give me a little while to get some of these tutorial videos out, because there are some tutorials out there. I don't think they'll get you by. David Russian, hello there. Welcome to Macintosh. Hello there. They'll get you by those tutorials, but I think there should be way better tutorials out there, and that's one of the reasons why I'm making one. We have tomatoes. I was thinking tornadoes growing in the garden. That's tomatoes with a slight spelling mistake. I see it was a joke for the tornadoes. We don't get, where we are here, like where I am in Sydney, we don't get tornadoes, cyclones, earthquakes. Pretty much anything. We get occasional light earthquakes, very occasional light earthquakes, but the biggest earthquake I've ever had was what they refer to here in Australia as the Newcastle earthquake, but its epicenter was in Newcastle, which is north of Sydney, but it was big enough to be felt in Sydney. Do you design your own circuit boards? I don't, but it is something that I want to do at some stage. Kai actually gave me some sort of tutorial on the one that he uses. That's one that you have to use a PC for, and that was very helpful. And I was all ready to just sort of go and do that sort of stuff, but I just never really got around to it. And then, but then I would really love to learn to use something that works on a Mac. So, and I know there's a free one out there I think that works on a Mac. So, okay. Sprint layout, that was the one, yeah. Yep. Now, I really need to talk about something from one of my more recent live streams. Before I get into doing a little bit of work here, I just want to mention something, and that is this, the Quadra 950 reloaded board, which I got from Bowl. Very nice, it was wonderful. Now, I started having a whole lot of problems. The problems I was having specifically was to do with the labeling of all of the passives. So there's all these little guys here, around here. Bowl had basically said to me that pretty much all these passives are more or less in the same location on the new board as they were on the old board. And I was not finding that situation. So I started getting a little bit curious. I'm like, what's going on here? So anyhow, there's no identification on this board other than this code, 8200313-A. Well, I was in the middle of a live stream because I was starting to get a bit sus. I did a search for that code. And it basically came up, said Quadra 950. And I'm like, sweet, no problem. It's fine. Anyhow, further down the track, after a bit of a while, I started to realize something is just not right here at all. So I did some further investigation. And as it turns out, this is not a Quadra 950 board. This is a Quadra 900 board, and I had forgotten that. And because it's not labeled, it's only labeled with a number, it's not something that just immediately jumped out at me. I just assumed I had a Quadra 950. But this is where it started coming back to me, and that was I had a Quadra. So I got this Quadra 900 board. I was going to try and repair it, and then got a Quadra 950, and I was like, okay, well, that was even better, so that was good. But anyhow, after some consultation with Bowl, he thinks I can probably still get this to be a Quadra 900 using the parts from this. So there are some variations, but he thinks I can probably make this be a Quadra 900. I'll be happy with that. But I've already moved some of the passives across here. Not many, a handful, maybe a dozen, if that. But I've moved them into the wrong location. So I have to move them back onto here, sort of so that we'll start again. And then I've got to move them across based on their location, not based on their code. All of the ones I did on this side, all of the PLCC chips, they're all fine. There's nothing wrong with those. They're all in the right spot for a Quadra 900, so no issues there. So far, I've only found one with a different code, and even then, it was still the same chip, just a different code. So, different location code. So that's kind of where we are with that. Now, that's why I'm not actually sort of just full on doing that, just coming in and doing that today, because I've got a little bit of back pedaling to do with that first. But yeah, we're doing things and stuff, Frank C. Yes, indeed. Peter Wago, hello there. Okay. Right. KiCad works great on Mac Windows. That's the one I've been looking at. That is definitely the one I've been looking at. KiCad was the one. I think I've even got it on my computer. I opened it up and I went, and that's as far as I got. So yeah, but that's probably the one I'll go with. Now, first thing I want to do just very quickly is build one of these little CPU pullers. So I'm just going to change here to the top view. This is one printed in resin. I just want to see if it's going to be strong enough. It's probably not going to be strong enough. The resin is a bit brittle, but I still want to build it and just see how it goes. So this is a resin printed CPU puller. I'm going to drop my little thingy in there. Then we're going to get some super glue, which is here somewhere. There I go. I don't know how well super glue works with resin, but we're going to find out. There we go. Is there anyone else out there that when they use super glue almost always get it on their hands no matter how hard they try not to? There we go. Okay. Okay, it definitely doesn't cure as fast as it does with PLA. When you use it with PLA, it goes just like almost immediately. Ah. You moved. Hello. There we go. All right, so let's just put that to one side to dry for a bit. And then this needs to go in here, just like that. These sort of little hand screw things that I make, this one probably should have been a bit bigger, but these little hand screw things that I make, they're so handy. They really are. I mean, being able to just get any standard bolt and then turn it into something you can screw by hand, it's great. There we go. So there's that. It goes down there. And we just have to wait for the other part to dry and we're good to go. Now, the reason why I printed those in two parts is because that way they can be printed without any support, so they print a lot quicker. There's very little stress on this part of the thing, in that join, so, you know, it's not really an issue. Yeah. It should probably work. Yeah, it will be days of work and it should probably work. And you're right. I mean, I'm not, you know, I mean, but it's still, I'm live streaming, you know, we're all having fun, aren't we? Yeah. Mm-hmm. KiCad gained nice features in the last version. KiCad is open source, is it not? Would I be correct in that? Parallels on a Mac, perhaps launch the app in Fusion mode where you don't have to interact with Windows, if that's still a thing. Yeah, I mean, I've got Parallels running on mine. I you know, I've had to, because I have to jump into the PC world every now and again because of my job. Yeah, I try and avoid it if I can. One of the other things with Onshape, I just want to mention, because it is web-based, it means you can kind of use it anywhere, and that's been really, really handy. I mean, I can be sitting there modeling away on my computer in my office, and then I can just come out, sit at my laptop in the living room, and just open up exactly the same file from exactly where I was up to and just keep working on it. And then if I want to jump back, so it's a little bit like working with the Google apps. And while I was initially quite hesitant about going down the path of a web-based product, it is so good. I haven't looked back. So, computer says no. Have I said hello to you, Paul? I think I have. Rudy, hello there, Rudy. Welcome. Since Rudy is here, I'll have to show you my little Apple II thing here. So I did a live stream a little while ago where I was building something that was sent to me by Kay Kober from Satanic Mac Club, and it was a little thing called an SP2SDV2. And so it's a device that, it's a smart port device that allows you to then set up disk images and read them like a hard drive on an Apple II. To Apple IIe, and it works beautifully, and I've used it on my Apple IIc with some games, and this is one of the reasons why I'm very motivated to get some colour. I've got an Apple IIe thanks to Rudy. Rudy actually sent me an Apple IIe, which is incredibly kind of him. A 2E with one floppy drive, which is absolutely fantastic, and I'm very, very happy with it. The main problem I have with it, it's got a 110 volt power supply, and so until I've figured out how I'm going to replace that power supply, because it's got a weird negative power rail that it's not on a standard ATX power supply, if I remember rightly. So you need to do some fancy jiggery pokery to make a replacement a power supply, which I do intend to do. But with the Apple IIc, that just works. I've got a power supply for it. I can just fire that up and away we go. And so obviously with the Mr. Tech Gadget, who sent me the little DVI output, the Apple II DVI output, and then I'm going to grab from Will from KMac the device that goes from the video output of the 2C, then creates a little card slot that you can stick one of those cards in, and then you can get digital video output from your Apple IIc. So that's what I'm planning. I'm really looking forward to doing that. You can easily do it in the original Apple power supply. You can if you have one of the later versions of it. If you're talking about the modification that I'm thinking of, so the Apple IIe power supply, the later ones had a little movable wire or jumper or something like that, where you could easily just change them over from 110 to 240 volts. This power supply is older than that and is a completely different layout, completely different. So unless someone has got a solution of changing that one to 240 volts, if there is the option to do that, I'll go down that path. But one of the first things I did when I got it was I looked up and was like, oh yeah, you can easily change an Apple IIe power supply to 240 volts by just moving this little thing to here. And then I opened up the power supply and that little thing ain't there. It's a completely different power supply. So yeah, it must be like a Gen 1 power supply or some crap like that. Who knows? It's probably worth a fortune. Millions. Okay, I stopped all my GitHub Reloaded boards for the moment. Some arsehole in Italy decided to take the board files. What? He just pinched them? What? Sell them commercially, removing all the silkscreen from them. Okay. So, yeah. Call your lawyer. Sue his ass. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you got these license terms, but who polices them? That sucks. That really sucks. But at the same time, it also doesn't surprise me. I mean, that sort of shit is going on all the time. I mean, did I ever tell you about the time that someone started up a YouTube channel and just put all my videos on there? I mean, like, they created a YouTube channel, downloaded all of my videos from YouTube, uploaded them to their own channel, and just created their own channel with all my videos. I mean, thankfully YouTube spotted it quite quickly and let me know, and I was able to, sort of tell them that is not right, and then they shut down the channel. But I mean, people just, people. Yeah. Clonus Creators. I can't even remember what it was called, to be honest. But anyhow, I was talking before about SP2 SD. That's what I was talking about before. And anyhow, I built 2 of those. The first one I built, there were some bits missing, so I built with my own components. Second one I built exactly to the build instructions provided by Kay, and with all the components that he provided. And I built a case. I know other people have built a case, but I built a case. So this is the case that I built. And I did it in the style of an Apple IIe sort of, it's reminiscent of the Apple IIe style. Got these nice big pushy buttons here, like they're meant to be like keyboard keys. And we've got the little fins down the side there. So, yeah, this is the case that I built. I've sent it to Kay for him to try out. If he's happy with it, I'll make it available on the Thingiverse. Yeah, and then that plug just goes in there like that. So, I'm really happy with this. I'm going to print it in a different filament. I'm going to print it in this filament, this beige filament that I've got. This is a filament that's sort of meant to try and closely approximate the platinum color of the Apples and Macs and stuff like that. But it's a really shitty filament. It's awful stuff. It's just not strong. It's gooey. It's called Polyterra, something like that. And it's meant to be, I don't know, some sort of environmentally friendly thing. I don't know, something like that. But it's just awful to work with. This one here, this one is more of a beige colour. This one actually prints really well. So I'll probably just go to print this in this beige. Polyterra muted white, that's the one. It's freaking awful. It's just the worst filament out there. And you get all of these lines and gooey bits, and it's stringy, and it's just awful. It's horrible stuff. The colour is the only thing it has going for it. Yucky. So I've found a whole bunch of things that I print in different colours. You know, I've got this beige. I've got like a kind of a very, very, very light grey, which is nice. Yeah, so, I mean, I've got two spools of this, and, you know, I do use it from time to time because, you know, if all you're interested in is the colour, that's fine. But if I want something that's going to be a bit stronger, I've got this, and then I've got this very, very light. I've got a light grey colour, which is okay, except the company that makes it, they've got to do something about their quality control because the colour doesn't stay consistent across the spool. So you might just start and it's all lovely grey, and then partway along the spool, it starts getting like a little bit red, and then back into grey, and it's like, oh, that's crap. Or had one that went a little bit yellow and then back into grey. But that's a nice. I like that colour, and then I've got another quite sort of light grey, which is quite nice as well. Yeah, all right. So I also want to talk about my unmouse. Has anyone had a chance to watch my video on the unmouse, restoring the unmouse? I tried your CPU puller on a Core 2 Duo MacBook Pro. The CPU did come off, but I fear it when I go back on. Any suggestions? You've got this. You've got this. Yeah, Jay, you've got this. Okay, yes, thank you for that, for people who did watch it and enjoy it. One of the things that I made mention in that was that, and I probably should have made more of a big deal of this in the video, in that it was a very new thing. And to some extent, while I look at it and I use it and I go, well, it's a little bit clunky, it's like, well, it's because there was nothing like it out there. You know, the what do they call it? Capacitive, what do they call it? Capacitive touch? I think that's what they call it, something like that. It was being used, it was already being used for touchscreens. So that technology was already there for touchscreens. But of course, touchscreen, you just, put your finger on the screen and all that. And then for someone to turn it into a little mini, like, tablet, that was a pretty new thing. And it was a little bit clunky to use. So what I did a thing. Oopsie. I modified it. So this is the original lid. There's the original lid there. I modelled and printed a new lid, as you see it there. And then I have buttons here. So the way it works now is you can move your finger around there and press the button with your thumb like a conventional trackpad. Now, the way I did this button, because I couldn't be bothered making up anything too sophisticated mechanically, it's actually just two buttons. There's a button on one side and one button on the other, and they both do the same thing. So when you press it, you sometimes press both, sometimes you just press one, but it all has the same effect. So you can move around there and do that. But one thing that is different about this to a traditional trackpad on a Mac, a traditional trackpad on a Mac, you can just press the button and it's the same as clicking the mouse. This device here is designed so that this button will not register unless your finger is on the trackpad. So you just have to get used to it. You've just got to make sure your finger is on here, wherever it happens to be, when you press the button with your thumb. Can you use someone else's video on your channel? Like, I made a better SCSI that was made by Bruce. It is acceptable to take little pieces of other people's videos, in particular if you're doing commentary on it. People do that all the time. I do it. I watched a few episodes of Startup Disc is Full. I didn't realise that you speak fluent French. Did you watch it with the what do they do? They've got like AI generated I hate to think what it would come up with some of the words I say. I hate to think what the translation would be. 2 a.m. Can't hand much longer. Need a shower to remove the ash from my hair and the smell of burnt wood and oregano from my beard. Okay, good night to you, Kai. Thank you for joining. Earlier touch resistive, like on the Newton. Yeah. And of course, the thing with those ones, they didn't work particularly well with fingers, so you'd have to use styluses on those ones. Yeah. So anyhow, the company that made this, as I said in the video, this capacitive touch device, they still exist today. They're still making touchscreens. So that's pretty impressive that this company, MicroTouch, from all that long time ago. So this even came with this little letter, which I showed in the video. This letter here, MicroTouch. They're in Wilmington, Massachusetts. And this is James Logan, president, and he is the founder of the company. He doesn't work there anymore, but he is the founder of the company. I did actually contact these guys. I sent them an email, but I didn't get a reply, so I don't think they care about this, you know. I mean, I think these companies should actually embrace their past, but, you know, maybe no one has time. So, yeah. But anyhow, MicroTouch, still around. Who knew? Right. So that's that. That's that. Now, a couple of things that I need to do. This is a PowerPC accelerator. I'm just going to zoom in on this a little bit. Okay, maybe too much. Oh, I have to recreate the Newton message pad 2100 touchscreen ribbon since mine is broken. I guess it's a little bit easier these days with being able to get flex boards done, you know, flexes done with, you know, by places like PCBWay and the other one. Yeah. Polyterra on my A1 has worked very well in clean prints. I use it for many of my prints. Yeah, I can't stand it. Can't stand it. I have two 3D printers that I use mainly. There's a Creality K1 and a Creality Ender 3 V3 Plus. The V3 Plus has got a great big print area, which is excellent. I'm really happy with it. And for the most part, everything I print to them just comes out perfect. I don't have to faff around with anything. I don't have to do any tricky stuff. Obviously, just an understanding of things like infill and that. And they just print beautifully. I've got to say hello to the chickens, don't we? Chooks. Oh, there's pigeons. There's a chicken right here near the door. I think it's telling me it wants some food. Okay, so this is a PowerPC upgrade for a Quadra 605 or a Quadra, or a LC475, and I think you might even be able to use these in a 575, but I could be wrong. So. So what you have here, that is the PowerPC 601 chip underneath this gigantic heatsink. Then you have a 25 megahertz 68040 chip here. And then at the bottom here, you have pins, which are currently being protected. And these pins go into where the 68040 plugs into on the Mac. So it basically goes on like VARS. There. Now, there's some problems associated with this. Number one, it actually blocks the use of the processor direct slot. So that's a bit of a bugger if you're wanting to stick a network card in or something. You can't if you have this accelerator in there. Now, the problem I have is I'm in the middle of doing a video on this. And I was recording something, and in the process of me recording it, I had to take this card off. And I took the card off, and I did the stuff, and then I put it back on, and it stopped working. And it hasn't worked since. And it's been a little bit frustrating. So I don't really know what to do, but we will take this off. One thing I do plan to do, so this is my CPU puller doing its thing. There we go. You clip that on. Screw this down here like that. I do it up that way so you can see it. You can see it working. Am I going the right way? Yeah, I am going the right way. Please make a version for the 68020. Oh, do you mean a 68030? 68020 and 68030. Yeah. for like the smaller ones, yeah, that you have on the early version SE30s and the Mac 2. Yeah, I can make one for sure. Yep. I basically made this after I had been removing this chip a couple of times, and I ended up doing damage all over the place. And so I was like, oh, there's got to be a better way. Got to be a better way. So, yars. Now, what I need to do with this, I'm just going to do a quick little test. First, we're going to test to see if it's still broken, which I expect it probably will be. And then if it is still broken, I want to just do a couple little continuity tests before I move on to the next thing. So this is sort of part of what it needs doing, because I need this working to get this bloody video finished. I mean, if it doesn't work, the video becomes moot. And I don't want to do a moot video. Alright, let me get our little speaker. Hello, speaker. Here we go. Plonk that there. If it works, I'm not touching it, okay? I'm never touching it again. But I don't expect it will work. Okay. Plugging in 230 Australian volts. Okay. Okay, ready? If anyone is wondering why Steve is saying, love you, Bruce, thank you, in all caps. It relates to a little in-joke that we had where someone, a mutual acquaintance that we knew, who used to just message me out of the blue all the time, one night sent me a message quite late at night saying, love you, good night, or something like that. And then a little bit later, he then sort of apologised and said that was a message meant for his girlfriend. So, is that cache RAM on the side of the daughter board? I am almost certain it is removable. I don't know for certain, but I am almost certain that is, and that just need a puller for that one as well. That comes off like that. So that is almost definitely cache for the 680 for the PowerPC 601. That would be my guess. Yeah. What does it say? Apple Computer Inc., Daystar Digital Inc., copyright 1994. So those who don't know, this particular accelerator card was made in conjunction with, it was made by Apple in conjunction with Daystar, and you could actually buy this from Apple or from Daystar. Now this is one from Apple, and the reason I know that is because it has no Daystar branding on it. The Daystar ones had Daystar branding on them, and this one has no branding. No branding. Are we on? Note to self, don't remove these while they're in situ. Okay, let's see what happens when I turn on the power. Okay, get no noise at all. Right, just, oh, shit! It chimed. Never touching it again, never touching it again, never touching it again. Okay, it's work, okay? Not touching it. I'm going to leave it the way it is so I can finish that frickin' video. Yeah, let's try. Let's get the camera and let's go right now. It's a bit like that, isn't it? You know, it's funny actually because something that I learned from you know Colin and watching his videos and talking to him about his videos, which is something it sort of seems fairly obvious, but sometimes you don't think about it because I have a very tutorial style mind. So in other words, a lot of my videos, I'm all about trying to explain things to people in a way that they can understand. That's just the way I'm always thinking when I'm creating videos. I'm sort of creating them with the thought of what I'm explaining here. Is this going to make sense? Am I explaining it adequately? Is it clear to people? So I had this very kind of tutorial way of doing a lot of my videos, and it was Colin, who was sort of saying to me, one of the things you need to have in these sorts of videos, these build videos, you need to have some drama, you need to have some story, you need some storytelling in it. And, that you might be in a situation where something happens that you think, which you knew was going to happen. It's totally predictable, but you might be like, oh, stop, did this, and oh, now I have to do that, and all that. And so, whereas my tutorial mind wants to just go in and say, because of this is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But from a storytelling perspective, you sort of think, oh, I need to actually turn this into a bit of drama. And so, again, this is something that, that I've sort of picked up from talking to Colin about videos that, oh, yeah, it's good to actually create some drama, but I don't want the level of drama that the thing I'm actually doing the video on doesn't work at all. I sort of want to have it so that it does actually end up working at the end. Did I just speak fluent French again? Bonjour, comment allez-vous? Je m'appelle Bruce. Je habite Sydney. I'm about to get a visit, so just bear with me a sec. Oh, I was supposed to do something and I didn't. Okay, bear with me just a second. I will just do this thing. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. All right, David Starbuck, hello there. Yeah, so anyhow, just with that whole thing about, okay. Yeah, with that thing I was talking about before about Steve writing in all caps saying "love you," that has just remained a little in joke for us since then. Now, because I've just fixed that, I'm not going to touch it anymore because it's fixed now. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to, after this live stream, I'm going to plug it in and see that it still works, or should I overclock it? So let me just quickly explain one of the things that I want to do with this very quickly. So I want to overclock this. Now, one thing that someone discovered, some clever cookie discovered, is you can overclock the LC475 and Quadra 605 with software. You don't need to do the little things here. There's little resistors here that you can move around to overclock it. You don't need to do those. You can actually just overclock it with software. But that software overclocking does not work on PowerPC upgrade. If you want the PowerPC upgrade to be overclocked, you have to overclock the hardware at this time. The person who's been doing some work on the software overclocking of this, he doesn't have one of these cards, so he's not really able to test it. So, it is my intention to overclock that because I do want to see if I can get that to function. At the moment, that PowerPC upgrade runs at 50 megahertz. I want to see if I can get it running at 66, which is the same speed as the 6100, I think. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. So that's where I am with that. I'm probably going to overclock it and check and see if it still works, and we'll just see what happens. Then this is actually what I've got in store next. This is something that I plan to build, and it's called the Head Hopper ADB. I don't know what that stands for. Someone might be able to tell me. Now, this is tech by Androda. For those who don't know Androda, that's Stephen. He has done some wonderful stuff for the vintage computer community. Absolutely brilliant. Now, this was sent to me by Mr. Tech Gadget, and he sent me a whole bunch of stuff, which is very kind of him, and I do thank him very much for that. But this is an ADB to USB adapter. Now, there's nothing new in that. These exist for a while. You've got the big mess of wires, and their one is called is it a Wombat? I think it's called a Wombat. And then you've got the one from Rabbit Hole Computing, which is called a Quokka, sticking with the whole theme of Australian marsupials. They all have a pouch. And then there's this one. Now, the advantage with this one is this is just available. You can go and get the PCB made yourself, buy the parts and build one. And I've got a Quokka. I don't have a Wombat. And I'm going to build this one as well because I like building stuff. So yeah, I mean, made mine with an AT Mega microcontroller. That's awesome. Jeez, listen to that chicken, will you? Shush. Shush, chook. Yeah, now, this one here, oh, look at that. That's magically fallen into position all by itself. Look at that. Okay, so there's our little USB port there, and then we've got 2 ADB ports. It's wonderful you can still buy ADB ports, isn't it? How good's that? I mean, I know they're like S-Video as well, but isn't that great? And then we've got our little, what do you call this, Raspberry Pi thingy, whatever they are. I can't remember what they're called. Nano, Pico, something like that. Pico. That's a Pico. This is a Pico W. This is one that has wireless capability as well. But why would you have wireless capability for an ADB thingy? It's actually quite extraordinary that you can have something like this. This little Pico is an incredibly powerful little thing, and you end up using it just to convert ADB signals into USB signals. It's just, I just find that extraordinary. But anyhow, let's build this thing, shall we? Why not? Sharknado with quokkas instead of sharks. I've never seen quokkas in their native environment because they're in Western Australia, and that's a bloody long way away from where I am. But there are quokkas in zoos, and there's a zoo that's very, very close to where I live, and I have gone to that zoo and fed little quokkas, and they are just the cutest little things. They're just gorgeous. It would be nice if we could have them as pets, but that would probably be bad. Dropped it. And I don't want to roll over it with my chair. Excuse me just a minute. That's not it. Where'd it go? That's empty. I mean, it can't have gone far. What's happened? This is bizarre. I mean, it's not that small. Oh, I found it. Oh my goodness. It sailed. Gust of wind got under it, and it sailed a long way away. There we go. Okay. Yeah, old man noises. They're around. I make them when I get into the car, and it's a bit embarrassing. You're in a parking lot or something like that, and I hop into my car, and when I'm in my car, I assume no one else can hear me, but of course the door's still open, and I hop into the car and go, ugh. It goes through the parking lot. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Joys of being old. But then again, get to experience new life experiences like shingles. Yay. All right. Now I'm just thinking about what we should do first. I'm looking here. We've got some components that live fairly close here, this fuse. So I feel like to some extent it might be a good idea to stick the Raspberry Pi on first, because I think it will then make it easier for placing these small components that are near it. Yep. And of course, as usual, this is surface mount soldering, which is my favourite kind of soldering. Oh, I have a soldering iron coming for a product review. So I've been in touch with FNURSY, and they are sending me, was it DW2000? Someone else, who I can't remember. Someone else in the chat was saying they bought one of these. So I've got 2 things coming for product review at the moment. So the FNURSY, yes, FNURSY they do a few soldering irons. So they've got one of those smaller USB powered type ones, and it looks like an improvement on the other ones that I've tested in the past, because most of the USB soldering irons that I test, whether it be this or another, have 2 buttons on them. That really pisses me off. I don't like the way the interface works with long presses and short presses. The one that they've got has 3 buttons on it, so it's got a left and right and a select, and I think that's just so much more logical. So I am probably going to review that one as well later on, but the one they're sending me is actually a soldering station. It's not just a little soldering iron, it's a full-on soldering station that uses like cartridges. It doesn't use T12 cartridges, but it uses cartridges. And the cartridges that it uses are compatible with other devices, and they can be hot swapped, so they can be removed while the iron is hot and put new ones in. And to me is a prerequisite. Ultimately, what I want to do is retire my Hakko FX951. It's been pissing me off for a long time, and I kind of want to be done with it and find something better. And that technologies have improved a lot then. Hakko, in my opinion, charge way too much for what they sell. And so I'm looking elsewhere. So they're sending one to me that I'm going to review, and I'm hoping that it'll end up being my new soldering station if I like it. And then the other thing I will be reviewing is a distiller. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, why on earth would you be reviewing a distiller, a water distiller, when, you know, why would that be even remotely relevant to your channel? Well, there are two reasons why. Number one is that I use a lot of the distilled water for cleaning, for putting my ultrasonic cleaners and stuff like that. I want to know if it is practical to distill your own water, or whether it's actually just easier to go in and buy the bottles. Of course, I buy them in 2-litre bottles. This is a 30-litre ultrasonic cleaner behind me. So when I need to refill this, that's a lot of wasted plastic. But at the same time, you've got to weigh up that whole thing about how much does it cost to distill the water? Is it actually worth doing it yourself? How long does it take? Are you better off just going and buying the bottles? But the other reason is because of the 3D printing, the resin 3D printing. One of the things you need to do is you need to wash your prints. You've got to wash the excess resin off them before you cure them. And so you end up with all of your, what do you call it? This is your isopropyl alcohol, all getting all milky and coloured and yuck. And a distiller allows you to restore it back to crystal clear isopropyl alcohol. So I'm going to be testing it with both water and isopropyl alcohol, and we'll see. I made my own distiller, and it worked very well. The main problem with it is cooling the vapor back down to condense it. It was quite a difficult process, and these distillers actually have their own cooling built in, so they're a lot more efficient at it. The one that I built did the job, and the way I did it is I had a whole bunch of hose in a circle in a bucket of water. But over time, that bucket of water just gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and when that bucket of water gets too hot, it stops efficiently condensing the vapor back into liquid. And so you'd have to empty it out and fill it up with cold water or drop ice into it or something like that. And that was a bit fiddly. It was functional, but it's fiddly. So, yeah. So, the vapor's extremely flammable explosive. Well, I've only made one little fire. So I was using an induction cooktop. And by using an induction cooktop, it meant that there was no naked flames anywhere. But you're right, yes, the ISO fumes are flammable. Not explosive from my experience. So I did actually do some experiments using a naked flame. And it worked for a little while, but then it did actually start a fire. But it wasn't like a big massive explosion, burn the kitchen down. Probably if I'd left it long enough, it would have burned the kitchen down. But it was something that I was able to actually get under control very quickly and easily, and no one got hurt or anything like that. But I would say if you are going to be doing distillation with a naked flame, no alcohol, no ISO alcohol. But in terms of when I did it with the induction cooktop, where of course there are no naked flames, good fume extraction. I had good fume extraction going on. I didn't really have any issues. So, so alcohol distills at about 80-something degrees C, and water obviously 100. And that's actually interesting to note. That is actually a good way of separating the two. If you end up in a situation where you've got water mixed with isopropyl alcohol, you can raise it to to the temperature that actually vaporizes the alcohol, but not the water. The water stays behind while the alcohol fumes go off. And then once the alcohol's all finished, you just essentially got some hot water there. You can then, if you want to, turn the temperature up and then distill the water as well. But that's what I did. I did actually have a whole stack of isopropyl alcohol with some water mixed in with it. And I was able to distill all that ISO out and then just be left with the water behind. Worked perfectly. 78 degrees C. Thank you very much, David. I like accuracy in this thing. But anyhow, as I say, I've done all this and it works beautifully, and so this is one of the reasons why I want to put it in the video. Right, let's start some soldering. Zoom in a little bit. I've worked out how to... in my last live stream, I was having all sorts of problems with the focus of this camera. I don't know what's causing the glitch, but I've worked out how to get around it now, so that's something. Tech by Androda. Stephen's a clever cookie. Just letting everyone know that. All right, so... Oh, crap, do I have to... Am I going to have to solder that onto that? I'm just going to... I'll change over to the microscope, so... Scoop. So we've got this little... So we're going to have to... Yeah, okay. So the challenge we have with this is not too bad. I've seen a few different ways of solving this, of dealing with this problem. You've got the USB port. This is a USB port on the Raspberry Pi, right? But we don't want to use that USB port. We want to use an external USB port. But one of the annoying things about the Raspberry Pi Pico is the pads for connecting to the USB are on the underside of the board, just here. That's backwards. What you're looking at is backwards. Why is that? Okay. I'm going to just fix that. Right click. Filters. Effect filters. We'll go here. Actually, it's probably I can do that. Right click it. Let's go here. Transform. Flip. Was it? Yeah, flip horizontal. There we go. I don't know why I'm getting a backwards output from my camera at the moment, but I am, and that was really confusing me. But now it's fine. So this is the right way around. Okay, so this is the USB port here on that side, and if you want to talk to that USB port, or if you want to have an external... Oh. Okay, we're still not right. We're still not right. I need to flip it vertically as well. We'll get it right, don't you worry. Don't you worry about a thing. Transform, flip vertical. Alrighty. Now we're right. Yeah, so if you want to connect to this USB, if you want to have an external USB connector, basically, you've got to solder to these little things here. Now, what he's done, I like what he's done with two of them. So he's created these little edge bit here, so I can just solder. I can solder here like that. You can see that? I can do a little bit of solder there. But for the one on the other side, I'm going to have to try and figure out what to do there. I might end up just adding a little bit of solder to this one, making it just a very small blob, and it should make reasonable contact with that. Yes, I think maybe just rotating 180 degrees would have done it instead of flipping horizontal and flipping horizontal and flipping vertical. But the thing is that this camera has settings in it, and my guess is those settings have changed and I need to change them. But in order for me to change those settings, I have to actually connect this up with HDMI output, not USB output. At the moment, this is connected to USB output. So I can't bring the controls up. So that's the problem. Right, so just going to put a little bit of solder. On there, not a whole lot. Oops. Okay, there we go. That's enough. It's just a little mound. It's enough so that it will make contact with the other side. And I should be able to test that. Where is this going? Oh, that's going to ground. So that's fine. That'll be nice and easy to test. That's all going to ground there. So, I think. So I can just test. Oh, so you can just get it from that pin there, can you? Right. Okay. We're all good. I have to say, I am really impressed with the way he has done this. So you can just solder on there like that. I think it's kind of cool. We've got a little via cut in half here. Yeah, might not even need to connect that. I think you're right. I think it's probably just the two on the top. But anyhow, it'll make contact under there, so we'll be fine. Right, let's start some soldering. Now, when I do these, oh, that's been chipped. That little inductor. Never mind. It'll still work. So I use the holes to line up. I basically solder one, and then I solder another on the other corner, and then solder the rest of them. It's pretty easy. So we'll start here. How easy is it to update firmware on these little Raspberry Pis? I mean, basically you just hold down that button, you switch it on, you hold down the button, plug it into the USB, and boom. Love it. I don't have enough solder. Whoopsie. Did anyone watch the Retro Repair Roundup where they had Robin Miller on it? I really enjoyed that. Being a big Mist fan. There we go. Oh, well, it's not super perfect on that side. It's good on this side. Well, it's not my fault if it's asymmetrical, is it? I cannot be blamed. Oh, Fume Extractor. Where's Jay? I did not chip. Well, I may have chipped it, but I'm not aware of that. It was just chipped. Could have just happened in transit. This has come from another country. So does anyone know? Is anyone here familiar with this head hopper ADB? Anyone else have one? They've made one? Roger Salter, hello there. Captain Bucko, hello there. Leaded or lead-free solder? I use leaded solder. I prefer leaded solder, just the way it, just in terms of the predictability of the way it behaves. I do have lead-free solder. I have done some soldering with lead-free solder, but I do prefer to work with the lower melting point. Of course, precautions need to be taken. It's very important when you're working with leaded solder that you should be wearing gloves, like I'm not, and you should, of course, wash your hands after using it, and try not to touch your eyes as well. Maybe I should put some gloves on and make a better example. Probably happened in China before I got that Pico clone board. Didn't notice when I sent it. Yeah, I mean, let's face it, at the end of the day, the coil's still intact. There's no issue there. And because it's me, this will end up in a little 3D printed case at one stage to protect it, because it's me. Interesting. Okay, so now I've got to solder these two down here. And that looks like that'll be pretty darn straightforward. Yes, sirree. You think we're okay at this stage, do you, Captain Bucko? You think the leaded madness would have already happened by now? It is one of the sad things that, I mean, lead, with it being so malleable, was something that was used a lot of the time in making pipes and stuff for running water. And of course, it ended up with a lot of people end up getting lead poisoning. Now, usually people from higher up, because only people with money could afford that sort of plumbing. All right. Now, here's all of our little surface mount components. Love it. Love it. So we've got two capacitors here, C2 and C7. Nice and easy. So, Mr. Tech Gadget, did you do all of this work of sticking all these components, or did you buy these like this? Because I tell you what, if you did all this, well done. That's the amount of effort that went into it is awesome. Oh, the components stay here. 1, 2. Okay, that's C1, C2 and C7. I'm going to switch on my trusty hot air station, because this is how I like to do surface mount. Some people don't like doing it that way, and they let me know that in the comments of my surface mount soldering video. But as we all know, I mean, different strokes for different folks. You did all that. Well, thank you very much. That's incredibly kind of you. So everyone go and visit Mr. Tech Gadget YouTube channel. Put a link to it. I'll have to make you a mod. There we go. Click. Add as moderator. There we go. So you can now post links. So please feel free to post a link to your YouTube channel. Something wonderfully rewarding about doing surface mount soldering, I find. Tell you what's not rewarding, trying to find where everything is. Found it. Lead paint tasted good. Being an old person, now admittedly I know that there are older people than me, but being an old person, I think for me one of the most extraordinary things is the fact that there is this whole generation that has only ever known a world with the internet. And of course there's a generation now who have only ever known a world with iPhones. And I just always think, oh, wow, that's amazing. There we go, there's Mr. Tech Gadget's YouTube channel. Lithium pills. Here's a little trivia thing for you. Did you know that Australia is the largest exporter of lithium in the world? How about that? We are very good at digging big holes in the ground in this country. Right, C1. This is a whopper. It's a 1206. 1206 is a good size for people getting into surface mount soldering. It's a nice, big, chunky size. The downside to a 1206, though, is if you're using hot air, if you use too much air, you blow them off the board. Well, this must be a child-proof container because I can't get it open. It's coming. There you go. Oh, God. Okay. We'll be looking for some big pads here. There we go. C1. Boom, boom. So I saw an interesting comment. This guy was saying, he said, when I was young, I used to teach my parents how to use a computer. Now that I'm older, I teach my kids how to use a computer. And then he said, was I the only generation that learned how to use computers? Do. Right, so now we've got some little resistors here. I'm going to cut them with a scalpel this time because I nearly caused some mayhem last time and I don't want to cause mayhem. 1, 2, 5, 6. Okay, what are we looking at? 1, 2, 5, 6. These are resistors here for LED lights. All right. Oh, there it is. I was going to say, I opened a packet of 4 and now there's only 3 on the table. What sort of magic is this? That's all right. It just moved a little bit. When I was going to school, part of what we learned with computers was how does a computer work? We didn't go into great details, but the sorts of things we would be learning would be, okay, well, we have these different parts of a computer. You have a central processing unit, and you have volatile RAM, and you have ROM, and you have input devices, and you have mass storage devices, whether it be a floppy drive or a hard drive. We used to learn all of that sort of theory stuff about how they all worked together. Don't know if they still teach that sort of stuff, but they did when I was a youth. A ute. What is a ute? Someone else has seen my cousin Vinny. The two youths. I used to spend so much bloody time on a computer when I was young, because it was just such a wonderful kind of voyage of discovery. I mean, I was just learning things all the time, just new stuff constantly, and my brain's just absorbing it and really getting into it. And of course, everything that I had then was very, very limited. All the technology was extremely limited, so it was all about getting by with what you had. I mean, the computer that I used had, was it technically 8 colours, but it could only show 4 at a time. So you could go into colour 1 mode, and that would give you like yellow, red, green and blue, I think. And then you could flick into the other colour mode, which would then give you cyan, magenta, I can't remember, probably cyan, magenta, yellow. So the other one was probably blue, red, green and blue. Yeah, it was red, green and blue in the first one, and cyan, magenta, yellow in the other one. So, what am I making? Roger, I am making a thing called a head hopper ADB. HID hopper ADB. It is a USB to ADB converter. Or is it an ADB to USB converter? Or is it both? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. This was sent to me by Mr. Tech Gadget. It was very kind of him. He basically just sent me this little care package. It all started with the outputting an Apple II to digital video, so being able to plug it into HDMI. And he sent me that, but then he sent me other things as well. So he sent me, there's one thing that I still haven't built, and he sent me this one, which is the ADB converter. The one I haven't built yet is I can't remember what it's called. You might have to remind me. It was, it allows you to do things. USB to ADB only, not both like the Wombat. Yeah, I think the Wombat is the only one that does both that I'm aware of. The Quokka doesn't. So the use of this is so that you can take a modern USB device and plug it into an old computer. I think that's right. 3. 3 is right there. I better feed my chicken when I finish this. That's not a euphemism or anything. Because my chicken is making, well, one of them is making a hell of a racket out there at the moment. I think she's saying, feed me. The egg output has been a little low lately, I think, as the weather starts to cool a bit. We're still getting probably about 1 a day. Some days I don't get any, but usually get 1 a day. That's enough for us. It means that I don't have as many to share with friends and family, but it's certainly enough for us, for my wife and me. Griffin iMate. Yeah, I got 2 of those. Funny thing about those Griffin iMates was they became ridiculously expensive for a while there. You could jump onto eBay and people were trying to sell them for hundreds. Don't know if they did sell them. The iMate is interesting. You could just plug in the iMate and it would just work for most things. but you needed drivers if you wanted it to work for everything. So what we used to use the iMate for at the company that I used to work with was hardware dongles. So we had these old ADB dongles that work with some software, and the dongle needed to be present in order for the software to launch. And then when we moved on to G3s, no, it would have been G4s, wouldn't it? Because G3s did have an ADB port. When we moved to G4s, we had to sorry, I'm just losing the thread here. So when we had G4s, we had to use the Griffin iMate so that we could run these little hardware dongles. Now, the hardware dongles would not work unless you were using the drivers as well. So just plugging in a keyboard or a mouse would work without the drivers, but the dongles had to have the drivers installed. And they've got a little battery in them. Do anyone else aware of that? A little Griffin iMate's got a little battery in them. How about that? R4. Here's R4. I had some funny comments on one of my videos. Someone was basically just watching the video and then posting a comment every time they had a thought while they were watching the video. And so there's just this long stream of comment after comment after comment as something came up that just caught their attention or whatever, and then they would just write a comment on it. And it's actually quite funny to look at the comments. And we have our suspicions that it might be someone who goes by many names, because he apparently does the same thing on other people's channels. Got to run Greek for dinner. I'm almost definitely for tonight, because we're going to the movies and we're probably going to grab dinner after the movie. We're going to be in a place here called Castle Hill, which is, they've got quite a lot of nice restaurants and stuff there. And I'm probably going to, my guess is I'll probably end up having like a laksa or something like that. And if anyone is not aware of what a laksa is, it's like a spicy soup. And I'm a big fan of laksa, especially nice. There are two times I like laksa, because it's a soup and because it's spicy. I like it in cold weather. But for some unknown reason, I also like them in really hot weather. I like on a really hot day having a spicy laksa. Yum, yum. So the iMate allowed tunneling raw ADB commands. I'm guessing. It's a New Zealand movie, and I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to look it up because I can't remember the name of it. It's very small, sort of. It's called Tina, Tina with a on it. Tina, which I think is Samoan for mother or something like that. My wife is a New Zealand-born Samoan, so it is something that is of interest to her, and I do enjoy a lot of the cultural aspects of that as well. What's an appropriate soup to wine ratio? Just keep the wine flowing. That's all I can say. Thai chicken green curry. Oh, I love Thai green curry. Love it. The one that I've got, like when my wife and I go to a Thai restaurant, the one that we've been getting quite a lot of lately is a Thai duck curry. It's like a red curry, but it's Thai duck red curry, and oh man, that is just the bomb. I was reading a little thing the other day, an article on, I don't know, what's the latest generation? Gen Y or something? I don't know what they are. No. Gen Z? No, I'm not. Whatever they are. And they were talking about some of the words they use. They were putting up the words that, you know, like extra and stuff like that. I don't know, just words. But anyhow, one of the words they had there that's like, you know, supposedly one of their new words was sus, S-U-S, meaning like suspicious or suspect, you know. And I'm like, I've been using sus since I was a child, so I'd hardly consider that to be like some sort of new thing. Yeah, Riz. People talk about having Riz. That's what I have to say to that. And that's the truth. Right, what's going on with this here? D1, D3, LED. Oh, and there's a diode there too. So, alright, now, are they both the same LED or are they different colours? They look like they may be different colours. Does it matter which ones I use? This one looks like a white one and it looks like a blue one. Get out of there. Oh crap, I dropped it. Yeah. Different colours, cool. Do you have any preferred configuration for them? Activity and 5 volts. So flashy, I don't know. Which one do we want to flashy? I sort of feel like blue might be nice flashy. Do you think blue will be nice flashy? Red for power and blue for activity. Okay, alright, so that's a red one. So blue activity. Yep, I think that'll be nice. This looks blue. Am I blue? Oh, come on. Thank you. Oh, crikeys. Nearly lost it. Alright, now which way around does this go? I think the little dot, hang on, let me flick it over. Yeah, okay, the arrow goes towards the little box, so I think it's like that. Pretty sure it's like that. I'm sure someone will tell me if I'm wrong, and they'll hopefully tell me soon enough, but I haven't soldered it to the board yet. We're not so nice about Aussies behind your backs. Fair enough. We're not particularly nice about Americans behind their backs either. Oh, okay, you must be a Kiwi. Sorry, Grant. The underarm thing. Yeah, God, that's shameful. That's not our proudest moment. The whole underarm thing. That was shocking. I promise you will not. You'll never find me defending that behaviour. As an avid cricket watcher, that is not something that I am proud of. Friggin' embarrassing. Yes, I mean, given the fact that my wife is a New Zealander, I am, and given the fact that my cousin lives in New Zealand, And given the fact that I have a whole sort of wing of my family that live in New Zealand, I really only ever have nice things to say about New Zealanders. That's the truth. Right, we've got a nice big fat Schottky diode here. Schottky. Where's he going? Where's he going? Where's he going? He'll be a nice big one here. There he is. Big money, no whammies. Yeah, that's right. Let's face it, New Zealand rugby is pretty unbeatable. They're just an extraordinary team to watch. They have just got it all figured out. Right, what do we got here? We've got a U1. We've got something here with a whole bunch of pins. Sticky tack. I think ray gun was a definite low point, yeah. I have talked about ray gun before, and I will talk about it again because there's some things about ray gun that I think a lot of people don't realise, and it's not even necessarily ray gun, but it actually has to do with breaking, being in the Olympics in the first place. And it's something that basically starts with ballroom dancing. And you're thinking, what the hell does ballroom dancing have to do with breaking? Well, that's a very good question. There's an organisation, I can't remember what they're called. I used to know off the top of my head, but I have forgotten now. And they do organise competitive ballroom dancing around the world, competition ballroom dancing. And they were basically looking to get ballroom dancing into the Olympics. But it was sort of decided that ballroom dancing wasn't really popular and trendy enough, and so that they wouldn't really be able to get it into the Olympics. So what they did is they just did a pivot, and they said, well, how about we just do breakdancing? But the problem is that this is an organisation that has no affiliation with any other breakdancing organisations around the world, the breakdancing community, or the other breakdancing competitions. They just started up their own worldwide breakdancing organisation, again with no consultation with any other breakdancing communities, and started creating these competitions. And the people that won those competitions were sort of eligible to then compete in the Olympics, but these weren't even the best dancers out there. I mean, a lot of the best dancers out there didn't even know these competitions were going on, or weren't invited to them, which is just horrendous. And when it actually comes to someone like Ray Gunn, I mean, she actually was perfectly eligible to be dancing there, because she did actually win. I think it was the Asia Pacific competition. But the fact of the matter is that it is alleged that the Asia Pacific competition was an absolute farce anyway. I mean, let's face it, it's being judged by ballroom dancing judges. The hell do they know about breakdancing? And I can tell you, there were people in this country, part of the breakdancing community, that were so pissed off when they saw her performance. Because these are people that are incredibly skilled professionals, incredibly skilled at what they do. And here they are watching this clown performing on a world stage. It's just unbelievable. Ruggers Customs, hello there. I am well, thank you. I was just explaining to everyone before that I have not been live streaming for the last 3 weeks, and one of the reasons for that, there are a few reasons, but one of the reasons for that is I have had shingles. And just a reminder of everyone, shingles is the dormant chickenpox virus that reawakens when you get to a certain age if you're lucky. I still have it, but it's not as bad. Apparently it can take months and sometimes even years for it to fully go away. And it never really fully goes away. It just goes dormant again. Maybe wake up again sometime. Okay, here's a little U2, isn't that cute? What a cute little chip. It's so funny, I was talking to someone that I work with, and I told him I had shingles, and he was like, isn't that something that they just used to get on ships and that in the olden days? And I'm like, what fucking scurvy, mate? Shingles, you idiot. I'm getting plenty of vitamin C, thank you. I think that's a dot there. It's really hard to see, but I think that's a dot there for pin 1. So that's going to go around that way. Yes, it can be stress activated, and it probably was, because, life. Don't talk to me about life. Just a reminder to everyone that this flux that I'm using is my favourite flux. It is the Styri ASM. I've tried quite a few different fluxes, and a lot of them have certain advantages and disadvantages, but I always find myself coming back to the Styri ASM. But it is not REACH compliant, so you can't buy it in Europe, and it is also something that is very important to use fume extracting if you're using it, because of the chemicals in it. Yeah, there is a cracked inductor coil on the board, yeah. But the coil's intact. Do you have the Vaxxer shingles? No, I don't. There's no point in me getting it now, having had it. I can still get it, but you have to wait till it's all cleared up first. Carthor, hello there. Found my board, I just double checked it. Good, excellent, thank you. Right, we're getting close actually. I don't have that many more components left, so I'm sure everyone's excited about that. Now we're down to a little fuse. Now is this one of these little self-repairing fuses, or is it just a good old-fashioned fuse that when it's dead, it's dead? Because you can get a lot of these fuses these days, they blow but they come back. They're expensive. You can tell it's a fuse because it is blue. Fuses are usually blue or green, in my experience. I'm sure there are plenty that aren't either of those, but in my experience, the fuses I've worked with have usually been blue or green, sometimes black. I have to admit, although I didn't actually repair it as per se, it just worked. The most joyous thing that has happened today to me is that my PowerPC upgrade board seems to be working again. That makes me a very happy chappy. Yeah, so this is the cracked inductor. It's just the lid of it. It's not... the coil's still intact. I don't have any issue with still using this. I don't expect to have any problems with it, so it'll be fine. If anyone is wondering about all this flux that ends up on the board, as you can see, it's all pretty goopy. This whole thing's going to go into the ultrasonic cleaner when I finish. It'll wash all that off. I've got my little UV light here, which you can use to show where all the flux is, because this flux has a UV, what do they call it? A UV tracer in it. So when you shine a UV light on it, it glows like you're at a disco. And so that's how you know if you got it all clean. You take it out and you shine the little thingamaboob on it. Thingamaboob. As our good friend Joe from Joe's Computer Museum once said in, I think it was probably in Retro Repair Roundup, it might have been something else, but he was just describing something and said, quite by accident, thingamaboob. And I think the thing that I found funniest about it is he had a female guest on the show. It's a bouton. Poussez les boutons. Appuyez les boutons. Haven't blown this one to know for sure. And let's not try. Let's not try and blow this fuse. Come on. Thank you. Last night on the television, Jurassic Park was on. I actually find it really hard to not watch that when it comes on. I actually saw Jurassic Park 3 times in the cinema. It's the most I've ever seen any movie in the cinema. And I have to say, it still stands up quite well today. You know, when you look at it from a special effects point of view, it's very easy for us to look at it and go, oh, haven't effects come a long way? And sure, they have, but boy, they did a good job with what they had back then. Very sparingly done, I mean, you know, we have to accept the fact that Spielberg is a master at his craft and has good people working with him and all that. Okay, what's this one? This one is Q1. 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 You know, is a really interesting thing, and I remember Steven Spielberg saying this once. When he made Close Encounters of the Third Kind, assuming, of course, you guys have seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You didn't say the magic word. When you, in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the main character, being played by Richard Dreyfuss, he leaves his family because he's tormented by, well, his family leaves him, I think, because he's tormented by what's going on in his head with the mountain that he keeps seeing, and he builds a great big sculpture and all that sort of stuff. And Spielberg said in that, if I was to make that movie today, I would not have had him let his family leave him. You know, he was saying that that's just, he as an adult would not do that part of the story because of the way he feels about family now compared to the way he felt back then. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And I looked at it and I thought to myself, if that isn't a very good reason why these filmmakers should not go back and tamper with their films, I don't know what is. Because to me, you know, you create this thing, and although you might look at it later on and say, I'm not happy with this, I want it to be better, it's a bit of an insult to the people who watch the film and love it the way it was. And in particular, you know, of course, I'm going to be making reference here to Lucas and what he's done to the original Star Wars movies. Particularly the first one. That he, at a certain point, made a decision that he didn't like the fact that Han shot first. It's like, oh, he's the hero of our film, we can't make him a cold-blooded murderer. And I really objected to that, because the whole purpose of that movie is that Han is the way he is. And throughout the film, his character progresses and becomes better than it was. He stops just thinking about himself and starts thinking about others and a greater cause and all that sort of stuff. And he becomes the hero. But it doesn't mean you have to deny the past that he had. And I've just always really objected to that. And of course, if people aren't aware of it, there's this project where people have got hold of an original film and scanned it and and cleaned it up and effectively put together a remaster of the original movie. It's called I think it's called 4K 77 or something like Star Wars 4K 77. So it's done in 4K. And it, you know, I am I'm glad that exists, because I'm glad it means that a lot of people can watch the original film the way it was, the way I watched it when I was growing up, you know, when I was a kid, and I went and saw this at the movies. It's like, I hate the fact that Lucas has decided that he doesn't want people to see that version anymore. I just hate it. Hate it. Yes, so the negatives are gone. There are still prints available. Then it's not as good as going back to the original negative, of course, but at least certainly I managed to get hold of a copy of this 4K 77. Admittedly, I actually sampled it down to 1080 because I don't have a 4K TV, and I wasn't going to have it using up so much space on my computer. But I am very glad that I have that, and I can go in and watch the original version. Okay, just sticking on some ADB ports here makes me feel very nostalgic. Bloop. 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 They're very close to completion on this thing. I hope it works. Yeah, so I mean, what I would recommend to people is go in and, if they are interested in the original version of the main Star Wars, I didn't mind some of the changes they did to the second one as much. For instance, being able to see out into the clouds from the Cloud City, I thought that was a nice touch, rather than just being closed in. They added windows. Oh, that was reasonably nice. I didn't object to that much. Putting all the extra critters up, changing the song in Return of the Jedi pissed me off. Do you know in Return of the Jedi, when they do a song, and they completely changed the song, and I objected to that. I've just been informed by Jay from the House of Moth that he is not watching this live stream, he is watching a movie. And I shall have words with him about that. Maybe I'm being too boring today. I have to up my game next time when I have to be more interesting. Anyone who missed it earlier, I was talking about the Quadra 900, Quadra 950 rebuild thingy, reloaded, that I was working on in previous ones. But for Jay the House of Moth, knew you'd give him crap about it. He tuned in just to hear that. Dear. I'm not saying I'm predictable, but... yeah, so the Quadra 900, Quadra 950 debacle is an issue. I was building the Quadra 950 reloaded board and then came to the realization that I actually had a Quadra 900 donor board, not 950. So Bold believes that it will still be possible for me to build a replica Quadra 900 board using his board. So that's what I'm planning to do, but I need to get a few things sorted out before I can go back to that. Is it worth it though, Jay? I mean, is that movie really that much better than my live stream? Come on. Right. So, what do I do to test this? Dana is here. Hello there, Dana. Have you been doing anything interesting? I've just been here shooting the shit. Where are we? So, I'm just thinking. Okay, so I've got a USB-C cable here. I can just plug it in and see what happens, eh? Nothing, but that may not even be plugged in at the other end, so we won't worry too much about that. I've got a cable somewhere. I've got a cable that just hangs around here, a USB-C cable that just hangs around somewhere, connected to my computer. What would I plug in? Okay, so hang on. Does it get power from ADB? Did errands with my mum all day. Well, good to do errands. I have to do a few chores after this. What are the holes for? Just out of curiosity? ADB powered, okay, cool. So what are these holes here for? Are they just part of, like if you want to put it in a case? There's a big hole and a big hole and a little hole and a big hole and a little hole. Just curious. Right, so I need to fire up a computer with ADB, don't I? We can do that. We have the tools, we have the technology, and we have a little bit of talent. Got me an SE30 here. I've got that. I've got... I'm going to need a USB-C, ADB cable. Have I taken... I've moved the keyboard. What an idiot. Okay, Android has a USB hub board and a 3D printed case too. Okay, cool. USB hub. Oh. I have to look that up. Yes, Jay is a bum. Right, so SE30 here. Zulu Scuzzy there. Let's just zoom out a little bit here. I'm a bit close. There we go. I'll get the thing here. Oh, this bloody cable thing. This cable is crap. This is like an extender cable that I bought, and it's just made like shit. Excuse me. Boo, boo, boo. All right. Get a bit of that. A bit of speaker happening. And we've got a monitor here, which I think is still plugged in. Might have some power still. And then I just got to check and make sure that I'm plugged in. Oopsie. How about I didn't just break it? Nope, I didn't. Not that one. Where are they? Where are they? No. Oh, there they are. On the floor. Best place for them. Okay, 8 volts won't do it. Okay, 12 volts. Oh, okay, that's why. Because it's on my chair. There we go. There's a bit of negative. There's some positive. Don't forget to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. That's straight from my electronics textbook. Right. Hey, it chimed. Let's see if we get some skip. We get screen. It's having a think. I mean, it's got the green light on here, but we're not getting any picture. That is almost definitely this cable. This cable is just crap. Check my sauce. Barbecue sauce. HDMI. What's going on? No signal. Why is there no signal? Yep, that's the same cable. I have nothing but problems with this this setup here. There we go. Look at that. We got. It's a bit. It gets this red line on it sometimes. That is related to the cable because I can often just unplug it and plug it in and again it goes back to normal. But nothing but problems with these cables. I have to try and get some better ones. Crubbish. Anyhow, I've got to get a cable, so let me just see if I can find a cable. We'll worry about this later. Afternoon granddad nap. No loud noises, please. I'm not very good at napping during the day. I do it from time to time, usually if I'm unwell, but I fall asleep so deep that when I then wake up in the middle of the day, I'm just all groggy. I was like, oh. There we go. Oh, we'll have to just stick with a red, messy display. I'm going to go find a cable. I think there's one just in this other shed over here. So I'll be back in a moment. I'll take you with me. Oh, my pants are falling down. That's embarrassing. Okay. Got that. That's the pass-through. So then I need a mousey. Come on, mouse. Oh, actually, no, I don't want that, do I? I need a USB mouse. That'd make more sense. Poop. 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 Repair ASMR. I think ASMR is the stupidest thing in the world. Wrong ones. Alright. Now, of course, you're never supposed to plug in ADB live, are you? So maybe I'll switch it off. Oops. Yep. Plugging on. There we go. Alright, so we're plugged in. So in theory, when I switch this on, it should start just power up already. Let's just see. Hey, got some lights. There's a blue light. Oh, an activity light, I think. Hey. It's a good sign. Now, if I can just get my screen to stop being a dick. Okay. Are you coming on? You coming on? Level up. Level up. Level up, level up. This is like, what is it? Mini HDMI to HDMI. And I've got like 2 or 3 of these cables, and they're all crap. So I have to buy a different brand or something. Yeah, there we go. Got it. We'll leave it for the moment. Now, I've got a mouse here. This is plugged into my other Mac. So if I unplug that from here, which I think is just here, just feeling around underneath here. Is that it? There it is. Got it. Little. Oh crap! What's happened to my screen? It's frozen. You're looking at a frozen image there. How cool is that? I don't even know how I did that. It works. Okay. Let me try and work out what's going on with the screen here. And I need this first. This is a bit. I really should have grabbed another mouse, shouldn't I? A second mouse, because I have to use this mouse with this one. Right, so let's go here to just me. Hello. Top. That's still frozen. Okay. Let's go here. That's the top camera. And I'm going to change this to that. And then I'll change this back again. We're working again. Isn't that nice? Okay, so if I zoom in, it should change its brightness so that we can see this screen a little bit better. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that'll do. That's close enough. Now, I take Fudgeroonie. Shush. Riveting view as always. Shush. That's enough of you. I know it's terrible. I don't need to be told. Yeah, I've got one of those mini HDMI to I've got a little to big, but again they're pretty clunky as well because it ends up putting a lot of weight on the little mini plug. I'd probably be better off buying a little one, a mini to mini, and then get a mini to big. That might work better. Anyhow, I'll figure it out. Okay, so I'm plugging in my mouse, and now it's moving. It sort of feels a little bit steppy. That might just be Foxhound477, hello there. Welcome. You've missed quite a lot. I'm not going to lie. But it's been very bitsy. It's very hard for me to just sort of sit here and go, this is what I've done, because I've done lots and lots of little things. But the main thing that I did, the most of my time has been put towards, is building this little thing, which is a USB to ADB connector. And so this is now me using a modern optical mouse, USB mouse, on my old SE30. So this is my SE30. I'll prove it to you about this Macintosh. SE30. Oh, and I don't have 32-bit memory addressing switched on, do I? I've got the original ROM in this at the moment, so this is not 32-bit clean. Adjust mouse sensitivity. Is that as in like in here? As in like just like this sort of thing here? At the moment it's really... Let's just do that because it's going way too slow. There we go, that's more like it. Cool. So yeah, it's cool. I can see the little light flickering. That is so cool. Flicker, flicker, flicker. Flicker. I'll show you. Flicker, flicker. When I move my mouse around, it goes flicker, flicker. Really clever. Yeah, so that's a really nifty little thing. So for people who are wanting to use their modern keyboards or mice on their vintage Mac, they can use this, and that's great. Love it. Very happy to have one of these. As I say, I already have one of these. I have a Quadra. But that is wonderful that we've got. I've got this one here, and I highly recommend this because it's you know, it's on. You can just make it yourself. Right. Okay, just checking the chat here because I have been skimming a lot lately. I often, I've fallen asleep to one of my own live streams. I did a live stream once, and there was something that happened in it. I can't even remember what it was, but there was something that happened in it, and I was like, I wanted to actually go back and find the spot where that happened. So anyhow, I'm just lying in bed, ready to go to sleep, you know, and I just put my headphones in, and I start my own live stream, and I'm just sitting there, watching there, waiting until it gets to the bit that I was waiting for it to get to. I do sometimes review some of my live streams as well, just to check and see, yeah, areas of improvement, let's just say that. And then, you know, I just fell asleep. I slept through the whole freaking thing. So, yeah, I can put myself to sleep with my own voice. How about that? Alrighty. Well, this has worked out really well. So I'm going to shut this down. Just like that. And switch him off. What I will do, just quickly, I am going to see if I can overclock this LC475 and see if it still works. So that'll only take a moment. And I better connect my mouse back into this computer, otherwise I'll be really confused where I can't use it. Why isn't this mouse working? What's going on? Why doesn't anyone speak properly anymore? Just plugging the USB into that. There we go. Oh, project is here. Oh, thank you for posting that. I really appreciate that. And what am I doing? I'm going to get rid of the SE30 from the table. Just like that. There's my ADB cable. This is one of the cool things about ADB, that it has 5 volts power. I like that. A little bit ahead of its time, with obviously USB then also having 5 volt power. So, right, this is it. I'm not going to disconnect this thing ever again. Ever again. Too far. There we go. ADB we know. I love that. We know. Cool. All right, so if I'm going to overclock this, I need to move a couple of resistors around here. So I'm just going to jump across to the microscope, and we'll have a look at this through the scope, and we'll try and get it in focus. There we go. So what we need to do with this, if my memory serves correctly, in order for me to take this up to 33 megahertz from 25, I've got to move R25 into R22's position and R21 into R24's position. So we play a little game of resistor leapfrog here. Why did I switch that off? Oh, okay, plug's coming undone. There we go. So a little bit of hot air here. And just in case anyone's saying, hey, stop, don't do that. You don't need to do it. You can do it with software now. Because that is one of the things that has happened recently. Someone did figure a way to actually overclock the LC475 and Quadra 605 using using software. But unfortunately that doesn't work for the PowerPC upgrade card. Just doesn't work. It just flat out does not work. Right. I think that's what needs to be done, but I will double check. This is a Quadra 605 or LC475. It is technically a Quadra 605 because it came out of a Quadra 605, but it is now living its life as an LC475 because I've removed the little jumper. Overclock LC475. Overclock LC475. And there's a whole bunch of stuff there about software only, software only, software only. But then there is the real one. I think it's this. No, not that one. Might be this one. Just going to check. No, it's not that one. Sorry, folks. Sorry. This is the one I want. Okay, so for LC, so here we go. 301 for R22, that's what we've got. And then R24, 472. Yep, that's it. So this should now overclock this to, what did I say? 33 megahertz. But we do also need to, oh crap. I am going to have to take this off again if I'm going to do that. Because it's, where is the thing? Oh no, here it is. I can get to it. So I've got to move this little who's a fudge to there. And I'm going to do that with, I think, some tweezers. Solder tweezers. Because I do not want to melt all this crap. There's been enough melting going on here already. Look at this. Look at this melting. My watch is telling me to stand up. I've been very good today. Did my walk this morning. Closed my exercise ring. There we go. All right. Why do you think they went with resistors and not jumpers like IBM did? Because they didn't want you changing them. With all this overclocking stuff, you've got to remember that Apple was very, very protective about its stuff. Oh, I've got to switch this on. You've got to switch it on to make it heat. Come on. I did a review on these solder tweezers in case anyone wants to see that. You'll find that in the featured videos on my YouTube channel. These solder tweezers, they have a lot good going for them. There are things that I didn't like about them as well, but there's a lot of good things about them. I don't particularly like the actual what would you call them, the tips. I think, you know, this one does take lots of different tips. And I think in a perfect world I would probably get some different tips. There we go. It is done. This is something that changes the clock speed for the SCSI. It doubles something. I don't know. I don't understand. You know me. I don't understand that sort of crap. That's the stuff that I go and ask. Other smart people. Oh, crap off. Oh, Jesus. That's what I hate about these bloody interfaces. I can never work out how to switch these things off and on again. Stupid things. Stupid. Right, so... Oh, shivers. I think I need a pair of tweezers here to try and sort out the mess that I'm making. I think a bit of flux might help us out there. What do you reckon? There we go. So much neater with flux. Isn't it? Isn't it? Steriflux. That's the one you want. Alright, let's now go to top view. Oh crap, this doesn't go to HDMI. I need a bloody VGA cable. I have to go and get that. But we'll at least see if it still starts. Shan't we? Shan't we? Boop. So what we're hoping for is a chime. It doesn't happen straight away. There's usually a bit of a pause. It freaking chimed. Freaking chimed. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Right, so what I'm going to have to do... Never seen you tombstone an SMD before, or I've done it. I think I may have even mentioned it in one of my live streams or one of my tutorial videos, just talking about how that, you know, how tombstoning can happen. But yeah, I do it. Happens to us all. When will you be reviewing the soldering station? That's a very good question. It's on its way to me now. So I spoke to Finersi last week. I had to go through an approval process first because it's not one of their new products. And typically when they're marketing their new products with influencers, you know, content creators or whatever, they like to mainly promote their new products. And I said, look, you know, I'm happy to do your new products as well. They've got another soldering iron. I said, yeah, look, I would be happy to do that. But I said, because of the nature of the stuff that I do on my channel, I actually think a soldering station like that one would be better suited to my viewers. And, you know, sort of it's something that I would very much like to review. And so she basically said, yeah, look, that sounds good. I'll have to get that approved. So a few days, and then she came back and she said, yep, it's been approved. So we're going to send you the soldering station. Last I heard, it was awaiting, you know, it had been through the sorting center and that in China and was just awaiting a trip here, an aeroplane. And typically when that, it's usually about a week later. So I'm guessing that I'll probably have the soldering station in my hot little hands probably in about a week's time. Small number of viewers. How many times do I need to smash that like button to compensate? That's a good question. Just make sure it's an odd number. So yeah, I'm sitting about 38. It looks like I peaked just below 60, about 50 something, and that was a while ago. But I'm, you know, for whatever reason, you never know with the live streams. You know, maybe the thing I was building was just a little bit boring for folks, or maybe I was just boring. That's, you know, that can happen. Right, so I need to go get myself a VGA cable in order for me to test this. I just want to see that it fires up, and that'll be the last thing I do before I finish. So if you guys wouldn't mind just waiting a couple of minutes, I'll go get the cable. I shall be right back. Sorry guys, that took longer than it should have. This cable was all tangled up with another cable. So very, very, very frustrating, yes. I just realised I probably can't get this booting into PowerPC because I don't think I have the software on this Zulu SCSI. But we'll at least see if I can get it started up and I can check the clock speed. See if I have successfully overclocked it. Alright. Sauce. Tomato sauce. Barbecue sauce. 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 BGA. BGA sauce. Right, okay, let's see if he starts up. 3, 2, 7. What percentage of your total revenue come from AdSense? That's a very good question, but I have no idea because I haven't done a table, I haven't done a chart. So for anyone who's doing YouTubing or wanting to do YouTubing or heading down that path or whatever the case may be, you've basically got a number of different sources of revenue. There's AdSense, which is the ads that appear. There's super chats during live streams, which, because I don't really get super chats anymore. And there's, I'm not getting any video, by the way. I'm not sure why that's the case. It's not starting into Zulu SCSI either, so it's upset about something. And then you've generally got things like Patreon, and then you've got affiliate sales. So if you might review something, and then if people watch the review and then they click on the link and they buy it, you might get a small percentage of the sale. So you have all of those different things or different revenue sources, and I've never actually sat down, put them all into a spreadsheet and worked out the full amount and the breakdown. I should do that. A smart person would do that. A business savvy person would do that. I haven't done that. Okay, so I'm not sure this is 100%, only because it's not actually starting up. I don't think it is anyway. I'm just going to switch this off. Sorry about my fat head here, but okay, I got a single flash from the Zulu SCSI Slim. I mean, the fact that it's chiming is very, very good because it wasn't chiming at all before. But it's not showing any signs of actually booting, like as in Oh, no, it is booting. Okay, it's starting up. That's great. So my problems with the video are only problems relating to video. So that's good. That's very... Oh, look at it. This is welcome to Macintosh. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. I better plug in a mouse, hadn't I? Ain't going to be able to do shit without a mouse. I do apologise. I've been swearing a lot today. I'm swearing more than I usually do. I hope I'm not offending anyone in the process. I do actually swear rather a lot because I am Australian, and it's sort of one of the conditions of being in this country. But some days I swear not at all in my live stream. Sometimes I swear a little bit. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to... Is it utilities, probably? Speedometer I'm looking for. Speedometer. Actually, Snooper's quite good. Snooper gives us a fair bit of info about the computer. And should it tell us that? Only thing is it stable? Yeah, don't give me that. I don't know. Help. Is it help? No. Logic test, no. Test, no. Logic. SADMAC codes, never test, no. Benchmark. Info, here we go. CPU info. Sorry about it's moving all the time. 33 megahertz. Look at that. Look at that. So it's definitely overclocked. So I'm just going to do a quick benchmark. I wonder if I can just rest that there, if it's going to work. So it seems all right. It's better than me holding it, put it that way. Okay, so file, quit. And we'll just see if this survives. This has got to use the CPU and the drive. The big test will be when I switch it over to PowerPC, but I can't do that in the moment because I need the software to do that. And I've got that on another card, but I'd have to go back inside again, and I'm not sure if I should. Okay, where we go. Tests. Run all tests. You could almost play 144p video. Yeah. Well, you know, the whole purpose of this video that I'm making, actually, there's a couple of purposes to the video that I'm making, but one of the purposes is to actually demonstrate, and I've already filmed a lot of this stuff, is to demonstrate to people the difference of upgrading a 68040 to a PowerPC 601, which is, of course, what this upgrade card does. At the moment, it's just using the 68040 that's sitting on the card, but when you switch it over, it uses the PowerPC 601. And I did a whole bunch of tests in Photoshop and things like that, and some game playing. And the 601 was a very significant speed improvement. Very significant. Unfortunately, it didn't get a particularly good rap because Apple, the transition that Apple made from the 68040 to the PowerPC wasn't the best. Certainly when you're comparing it to, say, their later transition from PowerPC to Intel, or even later the Intel to Apple Silicon. Those transitions that they've made, they got way, way better at them. That very first transition that they made when they went from sort of 68040 to PowerPC, there wasn't much native software at the time. So you go in and you buy this computer that's got the 601, you know, this PowerPC 601 in it, but it's having to emulate, it's having to run in old 68040, and it wasn't that fast, it wasn't that dazzling, it wasn't like, holy cow, this is the next big thing. But if you look at it retrospectively, where I can actually go in and say, here's some 68040 software, and here's some PowerPC written software. Let's get the two doing things. Like in Photoshop, for example, let's get a file, we'll open it up and we'll run an unsharp mask on it, or we'll run a Gaussian blur on it. The speed differences that I got from those were very significant. So, you know, like if you were a professional working in Photoshop, it would have made very, very good financial sense to buy one of these upgrades and put it in your computer, depending on what they cost at the time. But it really would have saved you a huge amount of time in your day-to-day. So, yeah, that's one of the things that I'm actually featuring in this video. let's have a look here at analysis. And we'll have a look at machine records. And we'll go this machine and we will compare this with, what have we got here? Centra 610 is probably fairly close. I don't think this actually has a 475 in it. One is meant to be a Quadra 605. So, but we'll just run it with the Centra 610, eh? And this machine is definitely faster. Longer bars are better than a Centra 610. I can't remember what the speed of a Centra 610 is, but this is just running. I've got a whole bunch of benchmarks that I've actually done on a different SD card as part of this video that I'm doing, and I'll be showing that. But this definitely does show that we are going faster, that we are overclocking, and because these 68040 chips are actually pretty resilient when you overclock them. Same with 68030s. They're also pretty resilient when you overclock them. If you're getting a bit of heat, you might want to stick a heatsink on them, but you know. Well, okay. Well, I think all in all, I'm pretty happy with that. The fact that this thing is actually functioning now makes me, I'm just overjoyed. It's hard for me to even show how overjoyed I am. I should do like a little dance or something like that. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased with that outcome, because this has been not working for a long time, and I had just about given up on it. And then I thought I had had an idea of what I was going to do with it today, you know, just so I was going to do a few continuity tests of this little jumper pinny thing. Yeah, it all worked out really well in the end, so I'm super, super happy with that. So just a little, quick little recap for anyone who is just, who hasn't been on the live stream for very long. Just explain a couple of things very quickly. My last few live streams, I've been doing the Quadra 950 Reloaded. Had to sort of put that on hold because it turns out that the donor board that I had is a Quadra 900, not a 950. Bol still thinks I'll be able to create a replica Quadra 900, but I've just got to get a few things sorted before I continue with that. But I will be continuing with it. I will be continuing with it on live streams. So it will be continuing to build, and it should be a lot of fun. Yes, thank you very much for the congratulations on that. I appreciate that. I built my little ADB to USB adapter thingy, or USB to ADB, I should say. So that's great. It's good to have that happening. This works now. That was the other thing. I was going to clean some floppy drives, but I have run out of time for that. And of course, just again for anyone who didn't get to see it before, this is my modification of the unmouse. I have now added a button on the bottom, so you can press with your thumb while you're moving around with your finger. So this works quite a lot better now. I'll probably do a little follow-up video for that at some stage. Videos that are coming. I've got a video that involves this PowerPC upgrade that I've just been talking about. So that one is hopefully the next one that I get out, but we'll just see how I go with that. I'm going back to old-fashioned. I was inspired by both my friend Colin and my friend Sean. So Colin from This Does Not Compute and Sean from Action Retro, who've recently done videos of recapping. And I thought to myself, it's a while since I've done a recapping video. So I've got an LC2, and I'm actually going to do a fun little recapping video for that. So it'll be a pre-recorded one rather than a live stream. So that's going to be coming out. I've got a tutorial on Onshape, so 3D modeling, that's coming out. And I've also got a couple of product reviews which are happening soon. So I've got one for a soldering station and another one for a little benchtop distillation device. So if you're wanting to distill water or distill isopropyl alcohol like I do for my 3D printing stuff. So that's pretty much it. At the very beginning of the live stream, I glued together this little thing here, and I realize now looking at it that it's glued together all wonky, so I'm not very happy with that. But let's see if I can put this on a 68040 without snapping it, because that is the big test. So actually I'll just do it with this one. Got here. Hey, it didn't snap. Happy. All right. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining me on my live stream today. I do appreciate it. Sorry it has been so long, but as I mentioned before, I had to take some time off because I had shingles. But I'm all better now. Well, I've still got shingles, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was. What are the wine prices like down in Sydney? Oh, do you want me to do a wine live stream? Beer and was it workshop and wine? I will do one soon. I have been missing doing one of those. I do like doing the workshop and wine live stream. I will be doing those. But the wine that I drink's on special at the moment, so I'm super happy. I bought a case just the other day. I'm well set up for wine. I've got at least enough to last me 2 or 3 days. Yes, so again, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate the company. I do appreciate all your comments that you put in there. It's all good. Keeps it all... Oh, look at that. Hated Shingles, glad getting better. Thank you very much. I love Scotch. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much for the super chat. So thanks for keeping the chat all busy and lively. It's all been good, and thanks for listening to my crazy ranting the whole time. And I do hope to be live streaming again next week, sort of back to normal, doing more scheduled stuff. But I am also trying to work very hard to get more pre-recorded videos out. I've just got so many ideas percolating in my head for videos. I need to just start making them happen and getting them out. Okay, so hope to see you with the next one. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you watched my other ones. If you're watching this on the replay, hello to you. Thank you for sticking around all the way to the end. And I hope to see you at the next one. So I will scroll down here and try and find the little button that says, oh, don't forget to please press the like button if you wouldn't mind. Or smash it. And let me just press there we go. So again, thanks again. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye-bye.